All right, you'll get some DVDs, okay? But, a lot of it, unfortunately, because of all the social economic stressors and environmental stressors, diet stress, a lot of stuff that's going on in our communities, sometimes it takes away from our ability to rear our children in a stable, loving, nurturing environment. So I just written down some, and then of course from my own experience, things that I've been through, having been married before and had my child through my first husband, and then the issue we went through. Because, trust me, I did not sign up for all that, but it was a learning experience, and I want to share that with you today. All right. So, the name of the creator. Number one, right? The importance of patience and introspection when we're picking our spouses, right? So, one of the current mishaps that we have is that we need to abandon the current style that we implement when choosing a spouse, and us appropriating with obviously the opposite sex. We have to remember we come from a history, I want to say an interruption in our great history, where our families have been broken up on purpose. Rape and pillage of our people for hundreds of years now. And so it's we kind of we cannot go about starting our relationships the same way other people do. Oh, let's fall in love and, let's skip off into the woods somewhere. No, we need to be more intentional about how we're getting together, because we've been put at a disadvantage because of slavery, right? So, this is especially important for our younger generations because the thing is that they're following the same haphazard patterns that they've seen their parents so and so forth do. So remember, we come from a culture where when people got together, when a man and a woman went to hook up, it was a community affair. Everybody knew who you are, know who your mama is, your daddy is, know your whole bloodline, and him too. And it wasn't just, taking okay, let them go. No, it's all up in your business, and, down to the point of your, your birthday, your name, and, charting out how likely or unlikely this relationship is to be successful, right? In the Islamic tradition, for example, the woman, any man who's seeking a woman, cannot go directly to that woman. He's going to speak to that woman's guardian or wali. Now, this isn't because the woman that's so sexist and all. No, it's not. I can speak up for myself. Yes, you can. And that's your problem. You know what I mean? Sit down and let some of the dirty work be done for you. You understand what I'm saying? The wali sometimes will be a father, right? Normally it's a male from that woman's family, father, older brother, uncle. If you don't have any of those constituents in your family, then it would be like the imam of your community or the leader of your community. Somebody of trustworthy, maybe usually an older man who knows how to look at another brother and say, you know what, okay, you got a job, where you work, do you have children, do you have any health issues going on, and they know how to size that man up. Just like we as women, when we see another woman, we can look at us and say, so if let's say a brother comes to us, oh yeah, so what do you think about sister, Nika, you know what I'm saying? She was looking, I'm just going, that's all you do. That's why, right? You know what I'm saying? See, she on the health thing, I know Sister Lisa, she about that health, everything like that. She's about her business, she got her babies on point, good with the business. You know what I'm saying? And I can size her up as a woman because we as women, we know one another. So it helps to have a third male party intervene to screen any potential brother that you're going to get with. Because a man knows another man, just like a woman knows another woman. And there's also we intrinsically have value and worth. This also helps us, it helps to put our women back on that pedestal that we used to be. Like, oh no, it ain't that easy, brother. You gotta come through some protocol first. So that, I think, is something that, could easily be implemented in our communities. The number two, the second thing is, a lot of us, intentions of our relationship, right? A lot of times we begin and end relationships kind of like this, sometimes it's not about much, especially in like the age of immediate gratification, right? Oh, look, everything's disposable, right? Including people. So we kind of look at each other, okay, you ain't working, that's, I'm gonna throw you in the garbage and go on to the next person. As soon as things get hard, we just like, just throw people away. Our parents, our grandparents weren't like that. Our siblings, our people before weren't like that. Also, or we just start relationships, oh, I want to fall in love, or, oh, he's fine, I'm trying to get with him. That's human, that's fine, but, again, our ancestors and our spiritual systems that we come from, they didn't conduct it, things like that. They didn't conduct, again, this is two human energies coming together in unity, right? There's a, and don't worry, not too much Islamic indoctrination today, right? But, again, in the Quran, it talks about how inside of the human being is the universe. What is easier to make, the stars in the heavens or the human beings? Inside of human beings is the universe. So this is two galaxies coming together, right? So we don't need to just begin hooking up on, la-da-da-la-da-dee. You understand? We have more discipline. That's the key here, discipline. We have more discipline, and there was a major concern about honor being preserved for our families. We could not bring dishonor to our families. We could not bring just any kind of haphazard thing into our families, right? We have to bring that back. Right. Right? We respect ourselves, everybody else is going to respect us, period. Point blank, period. We ain't got to march down the street, hooping and hollering to respect ourselves and automatically able to know the respect, right? That's right. So we need to stop playing and start getting married again. Stop playing. Stop playing, right? People say, and start getting married again. This is not, we're taught, to like really be afraid of marriage. Again, this is indoctrination from the civilization we're living in now, but that's not our background. We need to begin our relationships with the intention that, within a reasonable amount of time, getting to know each other, in a controlled environment, we will get married. And this, women are always usually ready to get married, right? But this starts with the men. Men, a special message to you. Real men set their women free. They set their women free, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to save on that one, but the point is that if we go into a relationship with the intention of getting married, there's a seriousness involved. We're not playing with each other. That's right. You understand? We don't have time to be playing with each other anymore anyway. Look at what's going on outside. Come on. And the thing is, in our culture, we've been taught to fear marriage. Not in our indigenous culture, but it's what we've been programmed with is to fear marriage. But meanwhile, in their circles, they make sure that the institution of marriage is maintained. They make sure that. Why? Because marriage is business. It means money. It ensures economic prosperity for the coming generations. They apply it like business. Okay? And we can do the same thing. They even make sure, and I in no way, shape, or form, 100% do not condone homosexual relations. But they even allow legal marriage now for Stan and Bill, Jill and Julie. Why? Because it's business. This ain't about no, oh, I want to be alive. It's about business. And we don't look at marriage the same way. Marriage is a business, and marriage is also a charity. I'll get to that in a second. So, we have to also make sure that we preserve this in our own communities, resurrect it in our communities, because through that there will be, of course, we will have stronger communities. According to my tradition, in Islamic teachings, marriage is mainly for 3 reasons. One is to guard, preserve, and amplify the sanctity of the men and the woman's private, sacred areas, right? Your sacred areas are that. They are sacred. We need to think about who we're sharing with. They're not just for the expulsion of waste and, of course, for us to have fun, right? They're sacred. There's some traditions that say that it was the first things created on human beings were the private areas, right? Not to mention, every person that you're with is recorded within your DNA, within your private area. So this is letting you know how special that is, right? Number 2, it is to preserve lineage. Marriage is to preserve family lineage and to create, obviously, strong communities, right? When you don't get married, you don't know who your lineage is like that. Right. You don't know somebody, mama hooked up with somebody. All right? It is the right, and also, 3rd, it is the right of the children. It is the right of our children to get married. Okay? It is the right of our children to get married. Our children deserve to come into this world in stable, wholesome households and homes. Even, I know some of us, for other than selfish reasons, we don't want to get married because we don't have the means, money and all this other type of stuff. That's one thing, but still, get married. Get married, and all that will work out later. I've come to find that through marriage, at the end of it, even if it didn't last, I was in a more prosperous situation than when I began. Either as a person or economically, so on and so forth. Just personal things about myself. My previous husband, prior to me, the beloved King Simon, he returned to God, or returned to the Creator, passed away in 2014. But, at that point, I still live in the apartment that we lived in. I guess you could say he kind of left that to me. So, before that, I wasn't living I was living with my mom, really. So, I wouldn't be in that situation if it hadn't been for marriage. So, anyway, the opposite we already see the opposite we already see our communities, what's going on. You can go down to Brooklyn Family Court right now and see the opposite when we don't get married. Number 3, I'm going to try to wrap this up or sum it up. We need to pray and meditate before making love. Dr. Layla, we need to pray and meditate before making love. Dr. Layla Africa talks about this. This is our history. This is what we used to do. Can you imagine what kind of divine light and energy would be infused into our children if you prayed and meditated together before making love? First of all, probably how good it's going to be, right? But then, what are we going to infuse into our kids? You know what I mean? That is beautiful, especially as husband and wife. I want to answer you. I want to talk to you since he told me to hurry it up. So, okay. Not to mention that the reason why this is also to protect our children. Anything that's being conceived from negative energy. We know that when a child is being conceived, there's some deep spiritual stuff going on. So we want to protect our children from those energies, and then of course protect the act itself. Number 4, giving birth, and then of course pray and meditate while you're pregnant. Pray and meditate while you're pregnant. Number 4, giving birth, and we all should know that we need to give birth at home. We need to give birth at home. If you can't do that, do a birthing center. I gave birth to my son at a birthing center, and it's so funny because I didn't even have all the the education that I have now. But my family intervened, said, "No, you're going to do it at a birthing center." Did it at a birthing center. It was beautiful. It was all women in the room. it's on a bed. It was a mess. As far as like liquids and stuff, right? But it was beautiful, and I would love to do it again and again, just like that. Your husband could be your doula. Imagine. These are the kind of things that we used to do.
Yes.
We gotta bring it back, right?
Yes.
Also, do not cut the umbilical cord right away, right? This is the lifeline that connected you and your child for almost a year, right? Don't cut it right away, please. Let it rest for a second, then cut. It was like 20 minutes that we waited before we cut it. Also, everybody knows vaccines are at very least questionable.
That's right.
Vaxxed, watch the documentary, vaxxed. Okay, people are trying to say, oh, well, the doctor had his own monetary interest regarding that whole thing. Whatever, there's still all these children coming up, twisted and autistic. Watch vaxxed. Okay, fifth thing, and I'm almost done, is, be connected with the community. A special shout out to single mothers. I know that at my time when I wasn't married and I had my child, being connected to a community helped me just helped me so much. And what is happening is that the reason why a lot of our, you see it on the news, and they love to show this, especially Tommy Sotomayor, you gonna get it. You gonna get it. I can't wait to see this brother dethroned. I really can't, because he loves to talk about how, black mothers are so horrible. Look at this black mother, she's a beast. Look at what she did to her children. Look at what this black mother did to her children. What he does not talk about is that a lot of these mothers are coming from poor family relations, poor communities, and they do not have a husband. Okay? So you have to understand that being a mother is hard, especially being a single mother.
Right.
I just got one. And I know what the deal is, okay? A lot of our sisters got 4 and 5, and they're doing it alone. And they're coming from broken relationship after broken relationship. What happens is that they snap. They snap and go off the deep end and something happens. This is not saying that they should be allowed to, act ratchet and get crazy. But no, when you are connected to a community, and all of us in this room have had that moment with that whole child. If you don't stop doing what you're doing, I'm going to. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to slap you into next week. When you are connected to a community, it helps for somebody to be the lookout, right? To a trustworthy community, right? It helps for somebody to be the lookout. And this again is where marriage becomes a charity, because men, when you look past yourselves and say, okay, instead of taking that single sister over there with no children, you know what, I have the means. I'm going to try to help this sister over here who has a child or two, right? And you make the intention for your creator. You are doing a charity. And then that sister has a release. She has somewhere to release. I want to big up my husband. Because of course he's going to just stay back there behind the camera, but my dear darling King Simon, I ain't going to get so all up here, but there's a lot I could say, but just by that reaction, you can know that I have a place to release, and I have and I'm thankful to the Creator for that. Alhamdulillah, praise be to the Lord for that. And with sisters, we need that, and brothers, we need you to stand up and help take care of our sisters, okay? Because they need it. It's not just for themselves, but also for you, because they're rearing our next generations, okay?
Yes.
Last but not least, I just want to go into custody issues. Listen, Brother Polite made a good point once about how minority, I think he said the term minority means, it pretty much translates to an adult child, right? That cannot take care of themselves, right? That's what the way they look at us, okay? We cannot complain about the system, but then use it to try to execute our affairs, okay? Listen, sisters, please, stop calling ACS because you're mad. Stop opening up cases because to vindicate yourself, to get that vengeance. Stop opening up child support cases to get your vengeance. Now, I understand. Some sisters gotta go to that level because brothers put them in a position like, look, I'm trying to talk to you, I'm trying to be reasonable with you, and you're not trying to work with me. I need means for this child. But don't do it just because on some, I'm going to get paid. Some sisters really make this like on some corporation type stuff. You need to stop. You need to stop. That child is not yours. It is a loan from the Creator. That's right. You cannot use it as some daggone gravy train ticket for you. That's not right. That's not right. But brothers, do not put the sisters in a situation where they don't, a lot of sisters don't want to go down there. They don't want to call the boys on you. But they are put, because you want to keep ducking and dodging and playing games, they're like, okay, what am I supposed to do? You know I got this child over here. You know, you gave me $20 last week. That's not enough. You understand what I'm saying?
System puts you in a type situation where you're trying to, you know, your back is against the wall. You want to get help from welfare, or like that, and they automatically
go for them.
So that's been my case. I've never taken a child's father to child support. In fact, it's almost like I don't even want to put no kid on my birth certificate, baby's birth certificate, because I don't want them to be, you know, having to be called into child support, with, you know, against my approval. They look and see who your child father is, and automatically will that brother into child support. And then also, child support don't even come to me. You know what I'm saying? It go right back to the welfare people. So it ain't even like, you know, on no gravy train or anything like that. You know, a food stamp train. But you know, that's what they do.
Right. Okay. And see, very good point. This is why our marriages need to be businesses. Okay? Stop looking at it like, oh, this is such a burden. If we start our families and our relationships on this is a mission statement, this is a business, we won't need to be in those situations anymore. That's what the Rothschilds do. That's what all these other families do. They make their families into a business, okay? Sisters, you know, stop playing the power games with the children's fathers sometimes. Some of you are mad and we don't like, oh, you can't see him this week. You can't see him next week. We got to stop that. That's not right. Your child is not yours. It is a loan from the Creator, okay? There are also mediation services. You don't have to do child support. And I gotta stop. So,
thank you.
You know, alhamdulillah. Yeah, but you know. Oh, the last thing, very important, very, very important. If it doesn't work out, don't jump into a new relationship right away. There's something called the 2-year plan, or the 2-year option. If you get married to a new brother, right? Don't live together and don't move in right away. You don't know who he is or who his children are. If he has kids, you don't know what they've been exposed to. So this means that I'm talking about this pedophilia and this molestation going on, right? A lot of us, we jump into a new relationship, then our kids get hurt. Don't do that. You don't know who the children, you don't know what his children have been exposed to. You don't know what's going on in that mother's house. You take those 2 years to observe and watch what's going on. And mothers out there who know that their children are being hurt. If you know, this happens a lot too, because we're so deprived of love, we allow this mess to keep going on. If you know your child is being hurt, you know your child is being touched, and you don't do anything about it, you are molesting your child also, and you will be held accountable for that loan from the Creator that you have been given. Stop the foolishness. Silence, everybody. Thank you.
Give her a round of applause. Give her a round of applause. Woo! Oh. Woo! Man! I ain't got nothing to say. I'm gonna shut my ass up. I'm gonna keep it moving right now. So give her another round of applause. Thank you very much for being here. And she's doing her jewelry now. She took some time to encourage her to do that, and that's good. And she's coming out, she loves what she's doing. Support what she loves at the beat of prayer, right? Beats of prayer. So very important. She got a lot of other talents that she needs to get that out, and that's what we're working on. So like I said earlier, all of y'all need to find what you love to do. And one thing about me, whatever relationship I'm in, I try to encourage them to do their very best. Whether they have children doing, they have to bring out the best in them. And some of them Well, they come, or some of them don't. Right now, my ex-wife in Georgia, I spoke to a publisher about a book that she wrote 10 years ago, and the publisher said they want it. And when I told her that, she said, thank you. She stopped writing. I said, you have to go out there and talk. You have to be able to meet with people. So I meet with her when I go to my son's graduation and tell her what she has to do. And then she'll have a children's book published. Even if it starts in Canada, they give you the money. Still, Canadian dollars might be a little exchange, but it's all right. She's gonna make a little money. She can't say, I always encourage her to do it. Every one of my children's mothers, and I got 6 of them. Look at y'all faces there. Yes, I'm married twice. I have 6 children, mothers. So I'm ready to bring on this beautiful sister that's not only a life coach. Yes, she's a life coach. But also, I remember when she spoke here for the first time, then I'm going to bring on the rest of the crew because she has to leave, so I got to make sure she gets on. But this sister spoke here for the first time with Brother Jerry Miller. Yeah, Jerry Miller, who was, people know Jerry Miller, he's something else. That's my brother. He used to be in the Ansar, and he was one of my imams back in the Ansar community back on Bushwick. This sister's a wonderful sister. She's doing great work even on media, and that she's a life coach. She just did all her studies and all that stuff, and she's a spiritual life coach. So give a well-deserved round of applause for Lajuana Radcliffe. Give her a round of applause. Lajuana Radcliffe. I think my niggas are cute. I'm always looking at this cute. Lajuana, you ready? I'm gonna bring the mic stand right over here. And her son is here. What's up, son? He's a big old boy now. October 31st, right? Yeah, his birthday, yes, I remember. All right. How do you feel being born on Halloween Day, sir? That's right, feels good. That's what I like to hear.
My name is Lajuana Radcliffe.
Yeah, I know.
I'm from Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And born and raised. I love Brooklyn, and it's great to be back here. It's my second time speaking at Nicholas, and I love being here. I love the energy of it. I really love that the brother did the drumming, because I felt like I was more connected. So that's great. So me being a life coach, I do workshops as well. Like Simon said, my specialty is spirituality, and it's also relationships with others and relationships to self, which is the most important relationship that you can have. So I help people build their self-esteem, which is what we need. That's right. Black people, as people in general, sometimes you don't even realize the work that you need until another person can point that out and say, you need to work on something. So, I'm a mom to a 13-year-old boy, and I love my boy. He's such a great boy. He's like, Mom, I have to take your picture, break my battery. Let me charge my phone. I'm like, my kid. He's so cool. And I want to say thank you to Simon for allowing me and asking me to speak today. Thank you.
You call me Simone. Since I messed up your name.
So, I'm here to talk about being a mom, and my story is more so based on how I was raised and the 2 women who raised me. My mother's name is Mary Radcliffe, and she was the vessel that brought me forth. And I'm so grateful to her for that. And then my grandmother, Rosetta Radcliffe, who raised me as well. And I lost my grandmother at 16 years old. And so I had like an emotionally distant mother, and I had an incredibly nurturing grandmother. So for me, it was like almost like the yin and yang effect, because it was like the light, which was my grandmother, and